Hi, my name is Peggy Garrigus, and I am being filmed by my wife, Sarah Ross. In part of the, as part of this cookbook in a brown bag program, I ended up choosing one that said Jamaica on it because I've always enjoyed experimenting with foods and learning about foods from other cultures. It ended up being this cookbook called Jamaica, Finest Taste for All Seasons. And it has sections on explaining a number of different ingredients. It has a section on the history of Jamaican cooking, and it even has a part where it lists different meals that you can prepare for different seasons, including every anniversary from 1st anniversary through 20th anniversary. So it has some unique elements in the book. As I first looked at the book, as I was trying to decide what I wanted to cook, one of the first ingredients I saw was ackee fruit, and that ackee and saltfish is an all-time favorite for most Jamaicans. However, after doing a little more research, I found out that several parts of the ackee fruit are very toxic, and so I decided not to try ackee and saltfish. As I was reading through further, I found in the soup section that one of the favorite soups is red peas soup, often served with dumplings. So I've decided to make the red peas soup. There's a picture of red peas soup that they have made. I've bought the various ingredients for it. But I had to make some decisions along the way as I tried to decide what to do. First of all, it calls for salted meat, which ends up being a large chunk of, very similar to bacon, of salted pork that you have to soak in water overnight in order to get most of the salt out of it, or it's too salty. The next thing it calls for is beef bones. And so what was sold in the store as beef bones is one chunk of beef bones plus some beef. And the third ingredient it called for was cocoa, but it called for a ½ pound of cocoa, and I suddenly realized that would be a whole jar of cocoa powder. And so I looked further, and there seemed to be a misspelling because one of the vegetables is cocoa, just C-O-C-O, which I could not find anywhere, so I decided just to leave that part out. And so I'm not using any of the cocoa ingredients, but the other ingredients, there's onion and potatoes and yam. And this is actually a yam that's more from West Africa. So it's not like what we consider here that are really sweet potatoes. It also calls for a hot pepper, so I have a jalapeno, some fresh thyme, and 2 green onions. It was also, and then the red peas, I improvised because I couldn't find anything called red peas, so we have pink beans and kidney beans. I also was intrigued by an ingredient called callaloo, so I'm going to be making callaloo with green pepper and onions as well. So I'm going to start by putting the salt meat and the beef into the pot where I've already sauteed the onions and have some water going, and I will show you more later when the dishes are done. So here's what the red peas soup ended up looking like, and here is what the steamed callaloo ended up looking like. It's cooked with onions and green peppers. The red callaloo that I found at Starlight Market here in Coralville has pretty pinkish pattern on the leaves, and the stalk is a little stiff, so you take off the stalk and just cook the leaves. So now I'm going to taste the soup and see what it tastes like. It doesn't have a very strong flavor. Now I'm taking a bite that has both yam and potato in it. It's a hearty, basic winter soup. It might have been spicier if I had put in the Scotch bonnet pepper. So this was all from Jamaica, Finest Taste for All Seasons by Laurel Hepburn.